Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Ball is Round. I'm Hady Raphael, and tonight on the show, CF Montreal loses in Charlotte. Decision day, make it or break it. And last but not least, the Canadian men's national team prepares for their friendly games against Panama. That and a lot more on episode 198 of The Ball is Round. And I'm joined today by my good friend, Andy Coronado. Hey, Andy, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I just spent the whole day at the kids' party. I'm either very sugar rushed or I don't know, but it's literally I don't know how anybody feels after a kids' party. So
Welcome to my
that's where I'm
life,
at now.
my everyday life. So, whenever you eat sugar, this is what happens. This is what happens. But you know what? We
After
love
it's
them,
not
right?
after a CF Montreal game like yesterday, you're just like you see all these kids running around, and you're like,
Why are you
man,
guys
they
so
don't really
happy?
care.
You shouldn't
They,
be so happy, you know?
they don't really care about anything, do they? I told them, "Hey, guys, I gotta go do a podcast." They were like, "What? What is that? And why do you do that?" I was like, "Never mind. Just don't get it."
Yeah, so yeah, it's you know what? It was a tough weekend for us, right? That loss that CF Montreal lost in Charlotte. At the same time, my team drew 1-1 also at home against Angers, which is very humiliating, but whatever it is. And yeah, I don't know what happened to you to your weekend outside of CF Montreal and your kids' party, soccer wise. Anything else happened?
Man, honestly, not that exciting. Nothing exciting except uh my Miami Hurricanes from the college football scene. One, which doesn't many people don't watch it, so that's fine. But that makes me happy. But yeah, is Hattie, would you compare that tie to say CF Montreal tying with Forge, or is it not that bad? Not that bad of a tie.
No, because it's the same division, right? It's the same
Okay,
league, right?
at
So,
least that. Yeah.
at least that. But yeah, we should have won. We should have won. And as you can see, I'm repping my team
Show us
today,
the shirt. Show
showing the new shirt of Marseille, the third, and of course behind you'll see. I
Let's
don't
show
know
them the
if you
behind.
guys can see,
That's
but
it.
it's number 51 with Kone, of course, and very very proud to wear that shirt, of course, because first of all, it's my European team, and of course, a Canadian player that I love that was in Montreal too. Unfortunately, just to give you a bit of news on Ishmael Kone, unfortunately, he got injured. Seems he's going to be out for a couple of months. So that's yeah, that doesn't help for the reputation of Ishmael Kone right now in Marseille. But you know what? Hopefully, he'll come back very better than what he was, and show the world why he signed to for such a big club. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Let's talk about CF Montreal. Of course, this is going to be, of course, the first part of our podcast. We're going to talk a lot about CF Montreal. We have quite a few questions that we received from you guys. Feel free to interact with us like you always do. We always try to answer all your questions and to interact with you at the same time. Hi to everybody that's here. Always nice to see you guys, and thanks a lot for trusting us every Sunday evening. So let's start with that game. CF Montreal, after a great run of form. When I say great, I feel that I'm not I'm not giving it enough superlatives, because it's been a great run for CF Montreal. After we thought that everything was lost, CF Montreal, made sure to keep us hooked to that team, because if you look at the final few games, since that loss in Cincinnati, a win against Charlotte at home 2-1, a draw in New England where they didn't play that well in the first half, and we talked about it. Another win against Chicago at home 2-0. Another win against San Jose at home 3-0. Then during the week, last Wednesday, everybody thought, you know what, it's away from home. Last win at home, away from home was in March. But you know what? Laurent Courtois' men, and specifically Joseph Martinez, was able to pull that win 2-1 in Atlanta until yesterday. And yesterday, that loss in Charlotte 2-0 was a bit of a tough pill to swallow. But you know what? Everything is not lost yet for CF Montreal, and we'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about Laurent Courtois' men. Let's talk about that starting 11 that Laurent Courtois chose for this game. So, starting 11 with Jonathan Sirois in goal. In the central defense, we had on the right George Campbell, Joel Waterman in the middle, and Gabriele Corbo on the left. The two wingbacks were Jackie Marshall Ruddy and Raheem Edwards on the left. In the middle of the pitch, Samuel Piet and Nathan Saliba. And up front, Bryce Duke, Caden Clark, and Sunusi Ibrahim in that spot, that striker's position. Andy, when you saw that starting 11, what was your reaction?
I was surprised, Hadi, because in my mind, the way I had thought about it was that, I mean, you're either Laurent Courtois will be doing a full rotation in the sense that, guys, we won the Wednesday game. I think you guys, we can afford to, give that team B a shot, and then we'll just try to win it all at home. But I didn't expect, Sunusi Ibrahim to start and for Gabriele Corbo to replace Fernando Alvarez. Granted, Fernando Alvarez didn't have his best game on Wednesday, but I mean, he hasn't been terrible during that streak of games. So I was surprised, but I was also very interested to see how the new dynamic that we've seen with Caden Clark and Bryce Duke would work with Sunusi. So surprised, but at the same time, I was like, I want to see what's gonna happen, what this brings, what's the result of this.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't surprised that there was a bit of rotation because when you have a week with 3 games, you can't play your same 11 in the 3 games. I was surprised to see the same 11 on Wednesday than the one on last Saturday. Yes, that I was already surprised about that. And then I looked at that and I was like, okay, you know what? I can understand the rotation. Corbo for Alvarez kind of makes sense because maybe Alvarez was carrying a knock or was a bit tired, and we saw it in the last game against Atlanta. In Atlanta, he was tired at the end, so I kind of understood that. Now, there's Joseph Martinez for Sunusi Ibrahim that I didn't get. I didn't get at all because we haven't seen Sunusi in a while, not even as a sub, and he gets the start, which was a bit weird. But Matias Cocaroa was on the bench and could have been that player that would start up. But I think we lost Andy. He's going to be back soon. So I don't know. I was a bit surprised of the choice of Laurent Courtois' man. I think that in a way, maybe tactically he needed to show something, or he saw something in Sunusi that could be interesting against a team like Charlotte. But I don't know. It was a bit weird. Not sure. So there's Andy. He's back.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It happens. Technical problems. I had technical problems. That's why we started a bit later than usual. We have a couple of comments right now on the live, but it's not their time yet. So don't worry, Patrick Tate will come back to you as soon as we discuss those things. Let's talk about player performance. First of all, let's start at the top because I think there's a lot to say about the goalkeeper. So let's start at the top first. About Sunusi Ibrahim. I know he's a bit of your you're like I said, so the player that you really like, Andy. You always defended
Mhm.
him. You think that he had a great season, and sometimes he didn't get the praise he deserved, and he didn't get the minutes that he deserved. What did you think about his performance in Charlotte on Saturday?
I stand by what I said in the past, where I do think he deserved a better chance, and I think he performed really, really well when he was given the chance on previous game days when the strikers were injured. However, yesterday, to me, compared to the Wednesday game, and I'm comparing it to a Wednesday game because Wednesday was also a similar situation where we're away in synthetic field. But to me, what really shocked me of the dynamic on the top was how much lower the level went in the attack when Sunusi was there. I saw a lack of creativity. I know that the commentators kept saying on Wednesday that with Joseph Martinez, Bryce Duke, and Kaden Clark, they kept using the technique of using a dummy to allow the attack to go right through them. And there was that, and that comes with a lot of creativity and knowing where your partners are going to be in the field. And it just felt like there was a lack of that with Sanusi. There was a miscommunication, and just anyways, we'll talk about the subs a little bit later. But once Joseph Martinez came into game, it just like was a completely different playing style, and that's not okay with me because there should be a continuation, or at least a little bit. It should be continuing to a certain extent. What we've been seeing so far, but the drop off in communication just made it seem like Sunusi was not talking the same language as Kidden Clark and Brace Duke, and vice versa, and he just seemed very lost. I'm not even going to say that it was an out of shape or anything of that sort, but it was just
You're
I
too
don't know what it
nice.
was,
You're too
Hattie.
nice. You're
Yeah,
too nice, Andy.
no, but it
He's
was
out of
just
shape, man. He's out of shape. I'm
it might
sorry.
be out of
Like,
shape. It might be like just a lack of rhythm with the rest of
yeah,
your teammates
possibly.
that makes you seem like the game is just going way too fast for you. But it was too much of a drop off, Hattie, and that's the problem to me when it's a drop off in performance. To me, it's like, okay, well, there needs to be like someone that is either close to or closer to what we're getting from Joseph Martinez, because we're at the end of the season, and next season whoever's there, we're going to have to expect similar performances every time. So, anyways, that's my take on Sunusi. I stand by what I said in the past,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
but
He had
yesterday was a
some great
huge
performances.
disappointment. I'm gonna just say it was a huge disappointing performance on the top,
Yeah,
and
but like, I don't think we can blame, Sanusi. I feel that in that game we have a tendency to maybe forget that we had a great defensive team, that a great sorry defensive team in front of us. Charlotte had a very good defensive unit, and
Mhm.
they're one of the best defensive units in the league, right? So, and I feel that Sunusi, it was a hard task for him, not playing that much and then get the start against one of the best defenses in the league. I think it was a tough ask, a very, very tough ask. Now, he made that great play at one point where he dribbled the ball a couple of times and then shot it the half volley. That was really, really beautiful and strong. I wish if that was on target, that would have been a goal.
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
can
Yes.
see his ability. He has a lot of abilities. I feel that I agree with you that he hasn't been used enough this year. And when he was used, the few times he was used, most of the time he answered and he was present and he made things happen for the team. Now, yesterday, I think, as I said, it was a tough ask for him, in my opinion. And at the same time, and I think that's going to be a good transition for the next two players that we're going to talk about, which are Caden Clark and Bryce Duke. But the two of them were out of gas,
Oh yeah.
both of them,
Oh
and
my
they
God.
looked so tired since minute one.
Yeah.
They looked so 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 tired, and we saw that it didn't help Sunusi's performance. and it affected Sunusi's performance because they weren't sharp. They weren't sharp in their decision making. They weren't sharp in their runs. They weren't sharp at all. Like they didn't have the stamina required for that kind of game against a very good defensive team. And Bryce Duke yesterday, we saw his performances. We saw what he's able to do he's whenever he's um, confident and whenever he's concentrated. But whenever he gets tired, he loses that concentration, and there's a lot of there's a lot of misplaced passes. There's a lot of decisions that he takes that are completely wrong. He's already not very fast, so he's even slower, which makes it a bit of a hurdle for the team. And at the same time, Caden Clark cannot be the only one that really shows up game in, game out. Last night was a difficult game for him too, in my opinion. He tried some things, but nobody was really following. And at the same time, he wasn't as crisp as he was in the last few games. So I don't know. I feel that if a change should have been done in that top three, I would have changed at least one of the two, either Caden Clark or Bryce Duke. My opinion would have been Bryce Duke out of the starting 11. Maybe Sunusi with Vilsa, or Sunusi with someone else, or maybe Sunusi with Matias Kokaro. They can play with two strikers because both of them can play together, in my opinion. So I think something else could have been done. Dominik Yankov completely disappeared. Why not playing him? I don't know. I feel that there should have been a bit more rotation. And so Wellington is already here and already saying some stuff that is not true at all. So no, we're not defending Duke. If you listen to what I just said, we're not defending Duke. We're just saying he says keep defending Duke. You guys did that all season long. Where he just said he had a bad game. So we're not defending
Hey,
that. And
literally last week in our victory against with Elias and I, okay, in the victory, we very much blasted Bryce Duke, and we actually gave a shout out to Wellington. I don't know if you heard us, but we gave a shout. We're like, dude, he was terrible compared to Caden Clark, and now more than ever, honestly, just to kind of respond to what you were saying earlier, Hady, the team came out flat. We're not even talking about Caden Clark and Bryce Duke. Forget that.
But I agree with what Roberto was saying. He said the whole team was out of gas.
Yes, and that's why when you mentioned the starting lineup, Hady, I'm saying, just rotate everything. They're clearly tired. It's tough a 3 game week, So turn them all around. Like give those people that haven't had a shot, like you said, Yankov, Vincent, Opoku. Like the only one that maybe was in the best and is probably in the best shape of his career at this point was Samuel Piet. But anyways, we'll get to that. All I'm saying was that the team was out of gas, and it was very visible. The amount of energy that Caden Clark dispenses as a number 10 every game, that's what the fans love about Caden Clark, is just that energy that he brings. While he's up there defending and attacking, he brings a lot of that. But yesterday, Hady, like you said, just seemed tired. He seemed like like it's and when you're that tired and you have absolutely no chemistry with your striker that is obvious to the naked eye, then it gets harder. And yes, Hady, you're absolutely right that Sunusi did have his chances to attack, and he did have a few shots here and there. But it's a little bit of what we've seen in the past, where yes, they give us hope, but then they don't finish it. So it's it was kind of a disappointing performance. I think Caden Clark did do the best he could with what he had, but the whole entire game, both of them were clearly tired and trying to make something work, but it was too little too late at that point.
Yeah. Now we do have also Chan saying on Sanusi. No, sorry, I missed that. No, that's not the one. You can't expect much from a player not playing for weeks, and I agree
That's
with
true.
you that at that point, when you give him that task, Sanusi, that means that he needs to have had a bit of match practice before getting the start, which he didn't, and I completely agree with you, Chan. And of course, again, Chan talking about the fact that we're playing away from home, but for me, that's not a thing anymore because we just won in Atlanta 3 days ago. So
Momentum.
it's not a thing. It's not a thing anymore. So I don't think the road form had anything to do against Charlotte. Again, in my opinion, Charlotte has a very good defensive unit, and that's why we weren't able to create any danger. And at the same time, they were able to create the chances and put them at the back of the net. And I feel that they were just a better team. As simple as that.
Mhm.
Patrick asks a question about Kokaro. What's up with Kokaro? I think there might be a complete turnover of the striker squad next season. Honestly, we asked the same question at the beginning of the show. We didn't understand why Kokoro didn't get that start. I don't think there will be a complete turnover because they already spent that much on the strikers, unless Jeff Martinez doesn't come back. That's something completely different at that point. Wellington saying Caden Clark is the real deal. I completely agree with you. He's great, a great player, and
Still.
that's something that we said here on the Ball this round, 100%. And Tate saying that a bad goal cost us. We'll come back to that a bit later. And then he said we controlled the second half. I think we controlled maybe 10 minutes, but not more than that. But yeah, but yeah. So moving on, midfielders: Nathan Saliba, Samuel Piet. Andy, what's your take on that?
Look, as I said, I really like the Samuel Piet's energy. I think he's a like a constant player that is definitely controlling the midfield with his energy and his just his bulldog attitude in the midfield. I think he did great. I did not like Nathan Saliba's performance at all. Um, I think you said it really well, Hattie, that Charlotte also really messed us up because they were solid. They were placed really well on the defensively on the midfield. Um, they were cutting out passes. They pretty much eliminated anything that Bryce Duke or Kenan Clark had. They played really well. I mean, I know in this show we try to talk about what good or bad CF Montreal players did in the game, but reality was that Charlotte is they're a playoff team, and they showed it yesterday. They played
Oh
really
yeah,
well. So,
hell yeah,
solid defense, and if they continue that way, they can go really far in the competition. Obviously, they have their own issues that they have to deal with, because I honestly don't think they played that well offensively. Attacking, I don't think they were that good, but they really did shut down our midfield and our attack. I said that I didn't like Nathan Saliba's performance. One of the things also, he got that yellow card that is going to suspend him for the next game. But Hadi, if I'm being serious, I think he should have gotten a second yellow. I think in the 88th minute when he had a
yeah,
tackle all the way, I was
yeah.
like, why isn't he out of the game? If that's
And
any other team, if that's the other team, if that's a Charlotte player that did that, I'm all the way going in this show saying like that was a BS call.
yeah, I think the first yellow was a bit harsh, and that's the reason why he didn't give the second yellow. Yeah, I think it was a bit harsh. The first yellow was a bit harsh.
Okay.
That's the reason why the referee didn't give a second one. And I feel that if the first yellow was given a bit later, then yes, it could have been a second yellow card. And even if it was a second yellow card, I wouldn't have thought it was there was injustice or whatever. Yeah, he deserved a second yellow card. I agree with you. But the reason why the referee didn't choose it, in my opinion, is because he thought that the first one he gave
Maybe
he gave it a bit too early.
he
Um,
was he was
at the
less
same,
he was less brave. I found also Nathan Saliba, as we've seen in the
yeah,
past few games, where he's a little braver to like say send it to the middle, shoot or whatever, just try something to kind of spark the team, right? I just felt like yesterday he was missing a little bit in confidence, and again, it's just I think Charlotte also did a very good job of putting a lot of doubts into our players that usually are confident with the ball, and he was just he passed the ball back a lot. He passed to the sides, and It was just he wasn't a difference maker, more of a liability to me towards the end after he got that card. So
Yeah, and at the same time, let's not forget that Nathan Saliba is the one that lost the ball for the second goal. So
mhm.
uh, that decision that he took was really, really bad because there was no way he could have dribbled that player. There was no way. So
Yeah,
sometimes, Nathan Saliba maybe gets ahead of himself and gets,
too confident.
sometimes gets a bit too egoistical with the ball. I think that he can be better whenever he plays with his teammates a lot more. Whenever he thinks he's the one that has to make a difference, that's when it creates some problems. And I think that's what happened with Nathan Saliba on this game. At the same time, I I understand and I agree with you, Andy, about Sam Piet's performance. I think he did very well. I was
Mhm.
very surprised to see him substituted, and Wellington the same. I still don't understand why Sam Piet was substituted. Courtois game management is like gambling. Okay, we'll talk about Courtois a bit later, but I didn't understand why. Maybe he was tired, but at the same time, we needed Sam Piet, and the player that should have been substituted was Nathan Taliba, in my opinion, and not Sam Piet. At the same time, we have Patrick that says completely something completely different, and again, it's the same disc that that goes on and on and on. I love Piet, but we need a modern six. Saliba might be that. We need an eight that can connect with the front three. Honestly, I do not like this discussion. Sam Piet is a six, a very very good six.
It's very good.
That's a ball winning six. And it's funny because Patrick is a Manchester United fan, and Manchester United fans have been asking for a classic six for maybe 10 years now. So yeah, that's a bit weird that Patrick is saying that we need a modern six because I know a lot of Manchester United fans and they would need someone like Sam Piet, of course, stronger, because he can't play in the Premier League, but someone that just wins the ball and gives a small pass. So yeah, and Patrick just said and answered, we got Ugarte, but he's not playing. I agree with you, but whenever you got something, you can't really diss it. You can't really say, no, he's not good enough. We got a very high caliber six on MLS level in San Piet. And again, I keep on saying it when we had guests over from other podcasts a couple of years ago, when we asked them, who's the player that you want to have in your team that's in Montreal? About 80% of them were saying Sam Piet because he wins the ball and we need that ball winning midfielder. So honestly, that debate about Piet and what he's able to bring, he's never going to be that modern six that does everything. He's not a complete midfielder that's going to come and score goals and gives assists. He's going to do it from time to time, but that's not his game. His game is just focus on ball winning, and he does that very, very well. And he has a football IQ that's really, really interesting. You see that he's always well positioned on the pitch. You never see him. Yeah, sometimes he's not fast enough or whatever, but he's always very well positioned. So no, I wouldn't change Samuel Piet, and he deserves his place in this team. And
But
he
Hadi,
had
let's be real. Like, where's this team gonna be without Samuel Piet? I mean, for all the things that he lacks in his game, which he lacks a lot, he's not a perfect
of
player,
course, of
but
course,
he does his job, and he does
yeah,
his job really well. And reality is, we can say a bunch of things about this season and the things that didn't go well, and the poor performances of the team, and we'll talk about that another time, the postmortem of the season and all that, when we analyze it player by player. But especially during this run, one of the in my opinion,
yeah.
one of the players that has shown the most
Well, that's Samuel
is
Piet.
Samuel Piet.
Yeah, yeah,
The
hundred
game
percent.
is going through him. And we're talking about Nathan Saliba being suspended next game.
Yeah, we'll talk
We'll
about
find
that
it.
a bit
We'll
later.
find a solution, whatever, and all that. But right now, today, if you're telling me that I'm missing Samuel Piet in decision day in an important game, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm shitting my pants. Like, I'm like, what are we gonna do? Because
No,
Samuel Piet is a key player in all this, and And so yeah, anyway, so I really liked his performance yesterday. We can definitely ask for a modern six and maybe Nathan Salib is right, absolutely. But at the end of the day, what we have with Samuel Piet, a lot of teams wish they had, which is just a solid, consistent player. He's not that kind of player that you don't know what you're gonna get that day, which is what we saw a lot from a lot of our other players, like the Ariel Lassiter, the Ruans that we do, or the Bryce Dukes that we never knew who was going to show up that day of game day. So at least we know what to expect of Samuel Piet, and yeah, I hope he stays here for a very long time and continues performing at that level.
Yeah, yeah. At the same time, we did have two wing backs, and you talked a bit about Owan, but we had two wing backs, I think, that have been showing some very good things since the beginning of that run with Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, and at the same time, Raheem Edwards, that was, again, preferred to Tom Pierce, and Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy preferred to Bugay. Now, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but for me, that was the best game of Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy with CF Montreal. As simple as that. I don't think he had a better performance with the CF Montreal shirt. I'm not saying he was amazing. I'm not saying that he was great. I'm just saying it's his best performance, and if he can build on that, he can become something very interesting in the future. And at the same time, this was one of the worst performances for Raheem Edwards in a CF Montreal shirt since he came back, because he was so poor, misplaced so many passes. He didn't get it. He wasn't in the game. He was completely lost most of the time, and I don't know. I don't know. He was a bit very, 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 very disappointing, in my opinion. What did you think about the two wingbacks?
Honestly, combine. Look, we talked about it last week with Elias. Stats don't tell the whole game. That's
Yeah,
fair. But Hadi, at the end of the day, honestly, I completely agree with you. Raheem Edward had a poor game. I think both wingbacks Hadi yesterday were exhausted.
yeah,
We
for sure.
talked about how much running Ariel Lassiter and Ruan used to do, and how Ruan had no substitution, nobody to replace him game after game, and we just didn't understand how we expected him. But the reality is, Raheem Edwards had 14 possessions lost yesterday, and Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy had 17. So combined, it was almost like, I think, 40. I can't do the math in my top of my head right now, but it was a lot of lost possessions. And yes, absolutely agree with you that Jaquil had one of the better games, I think, where he actually made his presence felt. But there were also some passes that were just like frustrating. But again, Charlotte did a fantastic job defending. So you got to give credit where it's deserved. But definitely it was, I think it was a lot more attractive to see what was going on with Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy on the right. At some point, actually, Caden Clark, I think in the second half, had to help out Raheem Edwards. He was actually playing lower to try to get the ball out from, because he was struggling. He was struggling to just drive it by himself or come back. Just a tired player and a tired game. And if we actually want to, make the playoffs and be be a threat in the playoffs, these two positions need to be fresh and they need to be producing a lot more. It's a very, very important part of Laurent Courtois' scheme. So that's what I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, I completely agree with you. I think they're very important for Laurent Courtois and the way he likes to play. Completely agree with you, but at the same time, yes, they were exhausted, and I feel when you do a rotation, maybe knowing that your team relies a lot on your wingbacks, maybe that's where the rotation should have been. Again, I still think that Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy had a very good game. Again, uh, he should have scored that chance that he
Oh
got.
yes,
Um, I don't know
that
why
was a
he
Tom
didn't.
Pierce pass, right? Am I wrong? Or a Caden
Yeah,
Clark
but
pass
no, it was a Tom Pierce cross that went in front
over
of
Nathan
over Nathan
Saliba? Yeah.
Saliba that made a great and amazing run
Mhm.
in the
That
18
was
yard box.
that was a
But
karate kick. Hadi, did
Yeah,
you see his karate
yeah,
kick?
but that's great.
That was not a soccer kick; it was a karate kick coming into like.
Yeah, but
At that
Zlatan
point, you
showed
put
us.
anything. You put
Zlatan
anything.
showed us that karate kicks work in soccer. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Um, Now at the same time, I think that Jackie Marshall-Ruddy, as I said, should have scored that goal
Mhm.
because the ball fell to him. He did the right thing. He dribbled that player and he put the ball on his left foot. He wasn't able to curl that shot, and for me, that was the biggest
Straight at the goalie.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest chance that CF Montreal had in the game. And at that time, it was only 1-0 for Charlotte. It could have been a tie, and we could have had a different discussion tonight. So that's something that he needs to improve on because if he wants to get to the next level, he needs to bank on those chances. And that's what's really missing in Jackie Marshall-Ruddy's game because he played, as I said, a very serious game. Even if he was tired, he was very serious. He made the runs that were required. He did try to cross the ball. He offered options. For someone that was tired, he did well. But you want to be called up regularly with the national team. That's a goal. That should have been a goal. So
Yeah.
that's what I think about Jackie Marshall-Ruddy. We have Eric Labrosse that talks about Raheem Edwards. He has had a bad game, and his throw-ins have been horrible for a couple of games now, to the point that I don't think he should take them anymore. Yeah, it's hard for the throw-ins unless you're really attacking, and then it could be the left center back that takes the throw-ins. But yeah, I agree that he's been subpar in his in the throw-ins. Eric, completely agree with that. Um,
It's
Now,
also his level of discipline because he was on a yellow card, Hattie, for most of the game. He
yeah,
actually got it very early in the game, and a lot of the game he actually spent it chasing down. I believe it was number 30, Junior Unas or so sorry. He spent a lot of it chasing him down, and something that scares the crap out of me every time Raheem Edwards is playing defense is how much he likes to use his hands when he plays. He likes to pull a little bit or maybe grab some, like an arm and something, and it's like, dude, you are risking because he always does it close to the box. And yesterday he had a yellow card, and I was like, he's gonna get a second one. He's gonna get a second one. As much as I love how he plays defense, I think he plays a very good, solid defense compared to Tom Pierce. Sometimes to me, it scares me. It scares me that he might be over aggressive near to the box. So yeah, it wasn't a pretty performance by him, definitely.
no, it wasn't. I completely agree with you. Let's talk about that central defense.
Hmm.
Joel Waterman, George Campbell, and Gabriele Corbo. Uh, Andy, I'm just gonna say it plain and simple. Disgusting game for Joel Waterman, and especially at the end.
Yeah.
Um, Solid game for Gabriel Corbo. And I'm going to be very, very honest. For me, George Campbell was the man of the game. He was really, really good. Really, really good. I feel that George Campbell had a stellar game, and he's been very consistent in the past few days and past few weeks. And I love his game. So many times, the team, Charlotte tried to go through his side of the pitch, and they were stopped by
Hmm.
a very commanding George Campbell. Now, I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me yes, but the goal came from his side of the pitch. I agree, but there was nothing he could have done to avoid that goal from
They were
coming
in
in.
attack mode. They
And
were in
well,
attack mode. Yeah.
exactly, but I don't think that George Campbell is the culprit on that goal. We'll talk about that a bit later. So, what did you think about the back three?
I'm 100% with you there, Hadi. I do think that George Campbell, the whole JMR George Campbell combination is starting to work, and I love it. And if you give me one more year of that, hopefully they both stay. I don't know, but if you give me one more year of that, of them developing that relationship, then I think we have something. I do. But as far as the two others, Gabriela Corbo and Joel Waterman, offensively, they just were having no like coordination with the attack. They kept giving the ball away. sloppy coordination between Gabriel Corbo and Raheem Edwards. It was not what we've been used to seeing in the past few weeks when we've had that wonderful combination between Fernando Alvarez and also with absolutely I love seeing Gabriel Corbo in the middle.
Yeah.
Um, I said it last week and I'll say it today too. It's if it's not broken, why fix it? Like I still don't get it. But you know what? The decision was made. We won on Wednesday with that same defense. No, not with the same defense. Sorry, with Fernando Alvarez on the left. But it's just to me it wasn't a pretty performance. I don't think Charlotte was either like super good in offense. I think some of they had also really silly giveaways. But absolutely, they did test George Campbell's side a lot, and he was up for the task. I like that a lot. I like what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Corbo was sturdy. He was good as usual. It was nothing out of the
His
ordinary. But
passing is the
yeah,
passing that really was no good, in my opinion.
oh yeah, I don't know. I think he was okay. Again, he was playing, I think, as the left center back, which he played a lot at that position last year. But he's right-footed. He's maybe better suited to play either on the right or in the middle than on the left. He's
Yeah.
able to do something, and he's able to bring performance, even at that position. But I'm pretty sure it's the position that he's not comfortable in the back three, out of the three. So I think he was okay. And we did talk about Joel Waterman and his bad game. I think, especially on the second goal. But Joel Waterman's there's something that's not really working for him in that position. And you did talk about Andy, you and Elias talk about your preference for Gabriel Corbo to take that middle spot, that center back spot. And I feel more and more that you guys are right, but at the same time, you cannot lose, Joel Waterman and put him on the bench. That's not something I feel that he can bring something to the team. So, and you can't really remove George Campbell either because he's been doing so well. So instead of putting, you're gonna have to put Waterman on the left, and I don't think that's the best position for him. So I don't know. There's a bit of
Well,
a conundrum here.
look, if we're in a transition year, Hadi, reality is that um, Joel Waterman is in an option year, so he has a lot to prove if the team actually
Yeah,
wants to action. So I think they're giving him the test, these run of games to really show that he deserves or if he's not with us, with another team, that he deserves to have that option activated. Definitely yesterday's game wasn't one that showed us that you know what, like he's definitely a captain. He has shown us in the past how in moments where we really needed him, he was a stout defender at that. But I still think that yesterday, in a game where he needs to be more of a captain and kind of use that soccer IQ to kind of lead the team and lead the way. He was not there. So
yeah. So I don't know. Let's wait and see of what's gonna happen. I don't think that Joel Waterman's position in the club is in the balance. I don't think so. I think the only reason why he would leave is because he wants to leave. But I think the club is gonna activate his option. Don't forget that he's the player that Laurent Courtois wanted as a
as
captain
captain, yeah,
also. So I don't think it's a matter of not of him being tried out. We don't know, right? So I
yeah.
don't think so personally. So let's wait and see. Um, Before we talk about next game, because we have a lot of questions about the next game. I think Maxime asking a question, and quite a few of people asking questions about the next game. Let's finish off with the last person, the last player on that team, and that's Jonathan Sirois. Andy, you can take it.
well, look, look, I thought I'm too positive. I mean, look, Hari, last game, last podcast, we had some people say that Elias and are too positive, you know. So, so I'm gonna try to be as realistic. I really thought he did his job, but that
I don't know. You
first
can't
goal,
say that. You can't say that. He didn't do his job.
that
He should have stopped that ball.
yes, that first goal is his fault.
Yeah,
Is his fault.
100%.
100%. It
Yeah,
is his fault. He should be a better goalie. Would have stopped that, but it does happen to goalies sometimes at that that hard of a shot. I've seen it happen to Manuel Neuer
yeah,
against
yeah.
shots like that.
But the shot wasn't that. That wasn't that like there wasn't a lot of force, and it wasn't really powerful.
I
Like
mean,
no. The shot wasn't powerful. I think it's a mistake. It
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
Mistakes happen,
yeah.
right? I'm not saying that Jonathan Serrois shouldn't be our goalkeeper. Far from
Oh,
that. I think
yeah,
he's a number one keeper for the years to come. Maybe for the next 10, 15 years, he's going to be a number one keeper, 100%. But like he is, he is 100% our goalie, and he made a big error, a big
yeah,
mistake.
100%.
He
Yeah,
has to be held accountable for this mistake.
yeah.
It's a big, big mistake. Let's not downplay it. It is a big mistake.
Yeah, I think I see it all around as a game that he did a solid job. But given the circumstances where we're at the season, given where we are, you know, how big stakes every game is starting like 2 weeks ago, we can't afford the same mistakes that we could have afforded 2 months ago, 3 months ago that Jonathan Sirois is doing. So simple errors like that are crucial because you're putting your team down 1-0. And what was it, at the 19th minute, I think, of the game? It was very early on. And in a Charlotte side that is loud, the fans are obviously there, the team is comfortable in their field, and you're tired after three, you need to be the goalie you've been all season. And that is 100%. I'm with you there, Hadi. That particular goal, regardless if it was just one action in the game, it definitely defines his play of the game because you're putting your team in a very bad position. Regardless if you had
Yeah.
amazing saves after, you still should have been better in that goal. And that puts you right away. Any plan again? I think it was very early on. I can look at the exact time that goal was
The
scored,
goal?
but I believe.
The goal was scored at the 34th minute.
Oh,
Not
well, I
very
don't know what.
early, so
Come on,
34th.
like it's not too late either, but it is a crucial part of the game. So already at the 35th minute, the coach is like, now we have to alter plans because I'm pretty sure they would have been completely fine with a 0-0. You know, the way they came out playing kind of less intense, just like let's defend. But when you put down 0-1 and all of a sudden, like, yeah, 100% I'm there. Jonathan Sirois should have stopped that goal. That was a mistake of his, and he's a young
And
goalie.
it's okay. No,
Yeah,
he's 23 now. Like, young goalie. It's no, I wouldn't use the young goalie anymore. Yeah, he's young, but he has experience now. It's his second year as a starting goalkeeper. He has started all the games for CF Montreal. It's a mistake. It happens. Let's just say it as it is. It's a mistake from Jonathan Sirois. He has to get better at that. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, you know what?" And Wellington is one of them. He's playing on turf. It's hard to catch. I'm not
it is.
asking him to catch it specifically. If he thinks that it's hard to catch because it's on turf, just make sure that it doesn't come back within the middle of the pack. Just make sure that puts it in a corner, or
Yeah.
just fist it in a way. So there's a few things that he could have done. He decided to try to catch the ball. He wasn't able to do that, and then it created a very good opportunity for the opposing team. Again, not throwing him under the bus, saying it as it is. It's a mistake for Jonathan Sirois. As simple as that.
Did you
As
think that
simple
was
as
an
that.
interference? Did you think it was interference by Charlotte?
I don't think it was an interference. I still think that at
I saw
one
his
point
body. I saw his body like that. I
he
was
got the
like,
ball before touching the body, and I kind of understand the decision, but in my opinion, some things need to change. We need to protect the players, and the
100%. At
way
that
he
speed,
yeah, the way he went into Jonathan Sirois, Karol Swiderski, for me was a bit harsh and could have caused a big injury for Jonathan Sirois. And
he was
I
holding his
saw
ribs. I don't know. I don't know if it was soccer injury, but
I
it was
know
hard.
I know that Vandré Lefebvre did a tweet yesterday about that, saying, we cannot accept this to continue.
Yeah.
At one point, nobody's going to want to play goalkeeper anymore, because
Hmm.
if that's accepted, that's a bit tough. Now, at the same time, we cannot blame that decision on and say, this is why CF Montreal lost. No, CF
Yeah,
Montreal lost because Charlotte was the better team on the night.
they were.
It's as simple as that. So
Hmm.
we weren't really good. So that's the problem.
Look, Charlotte weren't a good. They weren't a bad team. I mean, we've played against bad teams, Hattie. We played against San Jose, and we played against a bad San Jose, and we also played
Yeah,
against a bad New England. Like we played against bad teams. But the reality is that Charlotte didn't, like I said, and I'll say it again. Charlotte didn't play well yesterday. They didn't play well, but they definitely took advantages of our errors and our mistakes because we made
yeah,
a lot of them. They knew how to capitalize, and that's what championship teams do, Hattie, in any sport, is that they know how to capitalize out of another team's weaknesses, or teams like, say, lack of effort, or lack of energy, whatever it is. They'll capitalize on it.
yeah,
And you don't have to have the perfect game from beginning to end. You can have a very sloppy game, but if you know to capitalize in the right moments of the game, when the other team maybe fell asleep, or maybe a bad change, maybe somebody's injured, maybe somebody is limping or whatever, you take advantage of a certain weakness at the right moment, and all you need is that, and then you're good for the game. It just happens. That's the way it is. So
yeah.
I think that's what Charlotte did yesterday.
No, I agree. I agree. It was a serious performance. That's it. That's the way I can quantify it. Serious performance. They just did their job, took their chances. There wasn't a lot of fluff. There wasn't a lot of you know a lot of quality. They just did their job, and secured a playoff spot. And now sitting, if I'm not mistaken, in the fifth position, because they moved up. They were seventh and they moved into the fifth position now.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's great for them. They played exactly they wanted to play again. And we cannot say that they were more rested than us, because they played also 3 games within the week. And you know what? The coach chose the same lineup for the 3 games. That was the same starting 11, 3 games in a row. So
Yeah.
it worked for him. So that's great. That's great. And no, I don't agree with Wellington saying Charlotte is a better team than Montreal in every respect.
No.
Not at all. I don't agree at all. I think that those two teams are very very on par. They're the same strength. They're just on this game they were better. Completely agree
But
with
you know
that.
what? Like I mean, people will forget, but when we were down 1-0, 0-1, sorry, and Charlotte at some point they did a pass back to their defense. I forgot what minute that was. It was later in the game, and it was a mistake, and they gave a gift to Joseph Martinez, where I forgot now how the play ended, but it was definitely not a goal. I think they gave it away in the midfield, like Joseph Martinez passed it to the middle, and then it somehow got lost. But Charlotte also made their mistakes, but Montreal
Yep.
was not able to capitalize on it. There was obviously that play that everybody saw where Joseph Martinez got furious with Opoku for not continuing the run and reading the game. Like just man, I was watching the replay, Hattie, of that play just to see like how Joseph Martinez is looking at the game, and when he's waiting for the ball. This is I think what we've been missing from a striker is that when he's waiting for the ball, he's looking at the player to pass him the ball, and you're seeing his head flip 2-3 times to the side, like all that, just looking where is the game going. He wants to know where everybody is around him, because not because he wants to know where he's going to score or how he's going to score. He wants to know where are my teammates at so that I can be that dummy that starts setting up the play, or where do I pass it once I get the ball. And that's, like you said, an intelligent player, just an intelligent player. And that's something that we've been missing. I hope he stays. Anyways, moving on
Let's
to
wait and
fast.
see.
Yes,
Let's wait
yes,
and
yes.
see. But let's talk about the subs now,
Yes,
Andy. We did
yes.
have quite a few subs. A lot of people are talking about game management of Laurent Courtois on this one. It's funny, whenever we lose, we always point at Laurent Courtois, and when we win,
Everything's
we're like,
wrong.
"Oh, that's
Everybody
great." So
sucks.
I don't know. So first of all, 61st minute, two subs. The first one is Tom Pierce coming on for Raheem Edwards. The second one is Joseph Martinez coming on for Sunusi Ibrahim. And then on the 70th minute, Opoku coming in for Samuel Piet. On the 83rd minute, Fernando Alvarez coming on for Gabriele Corbo, and Matias Kokaro coming on for Bryce Duke. What did you think about the subs coming in? And what did you think about Laurent Courtois' management of the whole thing? I'll give you just, I'll let you, take some time to think about all that. I'll just share a few comments. We have Patrick at the beginning of the show that says, I think we have trouble creating chances last game because of too many bad missed passes. There has been much of that. Then we had another. Sorry. We talked about Kokaro. Then we had. I'm just looking because there's a couple of people that did talk about changes. And there's just one more comment, I think. One more comment, and that's Laurent Courtois, and that's Wellington saying I'm losing patience with Laurent Courtois game management. So, what did you think about all that?
I definitely do think I've been very, like, honestly, I've been complimenting Laurent Courtois' choice of substitutions at the time
Yeah,
that he's done in the past few games, because he has. I think he's done fantastic. Yesterday, the substitution of Ibrahim Sunusi, in my opinion, came too late. I think he was having a very poor game from the beginning. I was expecting this change at halftime if we really, especially down 1-0. And Tom Pierce, I mean, Raheem Edwards, like I said, he seemed tired. He seemed sloppy. So I think these changes should have come at halftime. I think they came too late at the 61st minute. The rest of the three, Poku, Alvarez, and Kokaro, I don't know. I don't know if I can say that they truly made a difference. They were. I'm getting less and less impressed. I told Elias last week in the podcast is maybe he needs time to adapt to the league. Maybe that's what's kind of going on right now. He's just kind of learning the league and learning how it goes. Because I don't see it right now. As far as the rest, they've all been playing in the MLS except for Tom Pierce, but they should have an idea of how they're going. Opoku, unimpressed. I don't know if he did what he was planning on doing or where his head is at. And yeah, that's it. I wasn't impressed with the rest of the substitutions. I think Charlotte did a very good job of shutting down Tom Pierce's cross, as much as we love him, as we love his cross. But Joseph Martinez, man, he's a different level. So I'm gonna say that was the best sub of the game because it elevated the whole team once he came in.
yeah, I
So
completely agree with that. Completely agree with
yeah,
that, and I agree also with what you said and what Chan is saying. Kokara is bad since for a month. Has been bad for a month, plain and simple. I don't think he's been bad, but lately he's been bad, and
yeah.
he's not making a difference. I feel
Because
that's
Martinez
why.
is so good.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that Kokaro is not has not been put in the right conditions either. A bit like Sanusi, I think he should have gotten that start. For that
Yes,
game yesterday. So I
yes.
think that would have helped a lot. Um, yeah, but yeah, I agree that he's been bad. I agree with your take on Joseph Martinez. He's been so good lately, and he tried to make things happen. I see how furious he was when he tried to give that pass for Kwado Opoku that didn't understand the the combination that he was trying to do at the beginning, at the end of the game yesterday, where he tried to give a one touch pass to Kwadopoku. Kwadopoku didn't really follow up on it. He
That would
was
have been huge.
furious.
That
He
would have
was
been huge.
furious. He was
Yeah.
furious. And Kwadopoku, again, I think he's a very good player. I don't think he fits within Laurent Courtois' system. Laurent Courtois needs to find a way to make him work, but he doesn't fit at all, in my opinion.
No.
Unless you go from 110 and two strikers, I don't see how Kwadwo Opoku can be a difference maker within that team with two offensive midfielders and one striker. I don't see Kwadwo Opoku as an offensive midfielder. He's either he can either play on a wing or can play as a second striker. He cannot play as a number 10. He cannot play as a lone striker either. So there's no place for him within that team. Yeah, we see a lot of opinions from Wellington on all the players that everybody's bad and because we just lost the game, but it's okay. Now moving on, I want to talk about Laurent Courtois. As you said, decisions. I agree with you that Joseph Martinez should have come on a bit earlier. I agree with everybody that Raheem Edwards should have come out at halftime. The thing that I didn't like when Tom Pierce came in, I feel that a big majority of the play of CF Montreal was getting Tom Pierce isolated to get across it. And I feel that was the only play. And everything, the whole thing was built so that Tom Pierce gets across. At one point, you're 33 games in a season. I would expect a stronger and more complex construction offensively than just isolating a player on the left flank for him to get across it. And even when he was able to get crosses in, there was nobody in the box. So I think something was missing in the construction. Again, I think that the team was very, very tired. But at the same time, you should be able to build a lot more and to do a lot more with the ball when you're given the ball that much. Because don't forget that CF Montreal had the majority of possession, but the possession they weren't able to do anything with it. And as you said, Charlotte understood the plan. They just made sure to block Tom Pierce, and CF Montreal was completely flat and didn't have any answer. And for me, you should have a bit more complexity in your tactics. So I agree with that. Laurent Courtois could have done a bit more. It's fun to have so many offensive options and put them on the pitch whenever you're trailing. But at the same time, how do they gel with each other? What's the plan in making them work together? And I don't think there was a plan. And for me, maybe there was, but I didn't see it. I didn't understand it. And for me, on the 33rd game of the season, that's a bit worrying. Again, we're all tired. Hopefully, we'll see a better version of CF Montreal going forward in the last game of the season. Let's move on to the next segment. Last game of the season. the game that we're all waiting for. CF Montreal will play at home at Stade Saputo against New York City FC. Tate just corrected me on that. I didn't check the result of New York City FC that played today against Nashville and took that fifth spot from Charlotte. So Charlotte moved back to sixth position. New York City FC had two games left. Now, since they won against Nashville, they only have one game left. And they're right now in fifth position. So let's look at the standings first, because let's look at the bigger picture. So we have, of course, Miami won the Shield, by the way, just in case some people are not aware of it. Columbus has still 2 games left. and is sitting second in front of their arch rivals Cincinnati in third. Orlando is in fourth position with 52 points. New York City FC is in fifth with 50 points. And that's a very important thing. And we'll talk about that. That's very important for CF Montreal. We'll talk about that a bit later. We have Charlotte in with 48 points in sixth position, and New York Red Bulls in seventh position with 47 points. DC United, 40 points in eighth. Montreal, 40 points in ninth. All those teams have one game remaining. Toronto with 37 points is out and eliminated because they played their 34 games, and we'll talk about that a bit later. We have Philadelphia that has one game left with 37 points. Atlanta, one game left with 37 points. Nashville is right now eliminated, 2 with 33 points. New England with 31, eliminated 2. And Chicago with 30, eliminated also. So we look at that and we look at the fixtures. Here are the fixtures for the last game. So Chicago playing Nashville, we don't really care. Both of them are eliminated, not important. DC playing Charlotte. This is going to be super important.
What a
First
game.
of all, so DC has to make sure, and I'll show the standings again, has to make sure to get at least 1 point to get into the playoffs. That's one thing. The second thing, if they win, they are, as simple as that, in eighth position and will get to host that playing game against the ninth team. So that's very important. At the same time, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but Charlotte doesn't care anymore because, they have nothing to play for. That's not true. They have the fifth position to play for. And why is it important, the fifth position? Because the higher you are, the best are your chances to get home games after the second round. So if you're ambitious, you want to get as high as possible. At the same time, that game is not also very important, but Miami, New England, we don't really care. Miami won the Shield. New England is out. We don't really care. Montreal, New York City FC. So, first of all, very, very important game for CF Montreal. Let's say it. We need at least a draw to make sure that we get into that play-in position. We need to do better than DC United in order to get the eighth spot and to get not only the eighth spot, but also to be able to host the game, the play-in. What's interesting in that game, even if both team wins, we're going to need to score a lot of goals because right now we're -3 towards DC United. We will have the same amount of wins. So if both of them wins, we need to get a better goal difference. So if we need to win by more than 3 goals than DC, so we need to go and score goals as much as possible. Even if we win, that might not be enough to get that eighth position. And New York can get the fourth position. And getting the fourth position is super interesting because that means that you get in the top 4. And when you're in the top 4, you get advantage of the pitch for a lot of games going forward. So that's very, very interesting. So that means that when you play the first round, you won't have one home game because it's 2 out of 3. You can have two home games. So the decisive game will be played in on the turf of the team that's in fourth. So that's going to be very important too. So a lot to play for during that final decision day. Andy, for you, when you look at those games, which is the most interesting?
It definitely has to be DC Charlotte because and honestly Montreal and New York City both are just competing for spots that are going to impact them down the road so much. And as you said, Montreal has to score so many goals, so it's going to be just desperate teams trying to either not lose or not let the other team win kind of deal. So it's going to be very, very interesting games. As always, decision day always brings us the drama to the last minute. as we saw last year. But I definitely do think that these games, as you mentioned, the games that don't matter, obviously don't matter. But there are definitely teams that are fighting for a spot, fighting to increase any little point that they can get. So definitely good matchups that we're gonna have on that date. I'm excited, Hadi. I don't care how
I'm
cold it's
super
gonna be.
excited too.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
care how cold it's gonna be October 19th. I'm gonna show up, and let's just hope that we freaking kill
Everybody's
it.
gonna show up. Everybody's gonna show up. I'll be very, 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 very surprised if the stadium is not sold out. Very,
Yeah,
very, very
like it's been
sold
all
out.
season. Yeah.
So now we'll talk about predictions a bit later, and I will share Roberto's prediction too. So now let's go on. I want to show you something just to maybe give you a bit more hope. Okay, look at DC United form at home. DC United has 4 wins, 7 losses, and 5 draws at home.
Hmm.
They haven't been that good at home. So playing against Charlotte, that's 4-8-4 away. That's not a bad record away from home. I don't know. I don't think it's a given that DC will win that game. Yes, they have Christian Benteke, who should win the Golden Boot for this season, but it hasn't been very easy for DC United at home. So there's a chance there. At the same time, Montreal has been very good at home with 7 wins, 4 losses, and 5 draws. So there's a possibility. And when you look at New York City FC, 4 wins, seven losses, and 5 draws away from home, which is a very good record away from home. So I don't know. I feel that if you look at the stats, there's a possibility there. So let's wait and see. Let's answer all the questions that we have received.
Yeah, but
Um,
sorry, Hadi. Sorry,
yeah,
but DC United came down from I think 4-1 in Nashville on Wednesday, and to beat them and to give themselves still a shot because they were eliminated in that game from playoff contention, and they came back. It was insanity. I was not watching the game. I was looking at the app on my phone, and I was just seeing like, oh my god, DC is really fighting for this because they eliminated Nashville instead. It was literally an elimination game between the two of them, and
yeah, it
DC
was three
United
one, 3-1,
3-1.
3-1, and they won
Regardless,
4-3.
that
Yeah,
is
they
still
won 4-3.
so
Yeah,
freaking hard to do.
yeah,
And they came back. And it
yeah.
was just like that's when I really realized like, okay, this DC United team is hungry. They are not gonna, you know, they really do want a spot. So yeah, they eliminated Nashville. And again, I might be wrong, but I believe that game was played in Nashville. So they did it
Yeah,
at their home.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it
But they're
was
better away from home than at home, and that's what I
yeah,
was trying to explain. So they're
guaranteed.
better away from home than at home. So
Yeah,
so we'll see. We'll see.
yeah, for sure. Sorry.
Let's answer the questions because I think there's a lot of questions
Go for it.
that will ask us for our opinion on what will be the outcome of decision day. Sorry. So first of all, we have the question of Robbie. Which two of the 4 teams in the Mist do you see as the playing teams in the East when decision day is done? Robbie going straight forward with his question, and he gives us his answer. His answer is my prediction: DC and Philadelphia will be the playing teams. Montreal and Atlanta out. Okay, let's not forget that Robbie's very pessimistic, a bit like Eve. So we should maybe invite you on the show just to replace Eve a bit. But yeah. So so yeah, and
We're
he
too
says
positive.
and Tate says hope, and then Robbie answers hope is a dangerous thing. So we see the negative opinion of Robbie. So what do you think, Andy? Who will be the 2 teams in the play-in?
Man, I'm too positive, and you guys are gonna hate me, but I'm just gonna say that I think it is gonna be DC United and Montreal. I do think it's gonna stay that way. I think Philly has faltered in the past few months. I don't think they've been playing their best. I think they've been inconsistent with their play. And Atlanta, well, we saw the Atlanta playing at Atlanta. I think they came out as very, very flat as a team. Um, I heard I heard a coach interview in the press conference after our game, and he also said that his team was just like lifeless in the at their own stadium. So I know Philadelphia is a very solid franchise, and they got a lot of hope for the future. But I don't know. I just feel that their play has been inconsistent, and I'm just trying to see their matches. Yeah, they've lost the past two matches against Columbus and Orlando, which are very very good teams. But that doesn't take away the fact that you're playing for a spot, right? So you need to perform better. So yeah, is it just me, or there's a lot of lightning around
I
right
don't
now?
know, man. I can't. The window is behind me,
I
so
thought I
I
still saw a
don't.
flash of light. If I lose power, love you guys. Yeah, that's definitely
Now,
lightning. Yeah.
okay, so Robbie answers realistic is what I like to say, so not negative. Yeah, okay, if you want to. You know, but you know what? I don't think you're very positive, Andy. At the same time, let's look at the standings again, and the logical thing to say is to say DC and Montreal will get through. It's logical because they're both playing at home, and they're playing at home and they need just to draw. At the same time, Philadelphia and Atlanta. Philadelphia is playing at home, but Atlanta is playing away. It's going to be harder for them because they need Montreal or DC to lose. So I still think that it's going to be Montreal and DC. I don't see how Montreal will lose their last game at home against New York City FC. I don't think that New York City FC has been that good either
Yeah.
this year. But you know what? I'm not saying that it can't happen. It maybe will happen, but I don't know. I have a good feeling about this. I feel that Montreal will make it to the play-in. Um, Again, they're in fine form. That game in Charlotte, again, they were tired. I feel that they're going to be rested. There's going to be 2 weeks now where they're going to be able to rest. And I think that's going to be very,
Hattie,
very
if
interesting going
if
forward.
we have Bryce Duke, Caden Clark, and Joseph Martinez in their best form,
They
this
should
is a
be.
very, very dangerous team
Yeah, they should
because
be.
they
They should
they
be.
click really, really well. Nathan
Yeah,
Saliba, when he's playing his best game, oh
yeah,
boy, he is a game changer. So yeah, big hopes. Not just about making. Yeah, well, there'll be a lot of discussion if we do make it into the play-in, which is already to me after the shit season we've had so far. If we even make it to the play-in, wow,
yeah,
like
yeah.
wow,
I
like
agree.
how did we get it here? You know, but I think we can actually make a run. I don't know how deep. I don't know if it's only one game, but hell, if we even beat one team in the playoffs, Hadi,
Yeah,
when was the last time we did that? Wasn't it
yeah. And you know
2022?
what, guys? If we get let's say we win and we get that eighth spot, which is very, very far from it, but that would mean one game at Satsaputo for the play-in, and if they win, that would mean another game at Satsaputo because it's 2 out of 3 for the first round. So we're sure to have another game in Satsaputo in the first round, and obviously, if it's in the play-in, we'll be playing the number one of the East, so we'll be playing Inter Miami. That would mean Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Sergi
Oh,
Busquets,
wait,
Jordi Alba
what?
at home at Satsaputo. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, but
Are you saying the
there's
15,000 season ticket holders are gonna show up again for
yeah,
another game?
possibly, possibly. So now we will we will discuss the other elephant in the room because we've been asked this quite a few times already. The first person that asked this was GF. Who takes
Oh,
Saliba's spot against New York City FC because Nathan Saliba is suspended? And that's a big, big, big hole in the midfield of CF Montreal. We don't have a lot of options in that area. I don't think Victor Wanyama is going to be the answer because he hasn't played in a while. He wasn't even with the team in on those 2 road games, so we all know he's not staying and he's not here. Um, so Robbie's saying you guys are hopeless, but I have to admire your optimism.
we
So
already
we'll
got a
see.
complaint last week.
But at the same time, thanks, Sir Patrick. Thanks for Patrick saying I think Courtois' system has started to work. Martinez buying in was so important. I agree with you, Patrick. So
Hmm.
who's replacing and Tate asking us again, but Saliba won't play. Who plays for him? Your opinion, my friend Andy. Who's it gonna be?
Bryce Duke.
Yeah, but do you wanna mess the chemistry that has been built up front between Duke, Clark, and Martinez? Do you want to play with this?
Hady, we need to attack, 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 attack. Bryce Duke.
Yeah, but like you have such a good chemistry forward. I don't
Yes.
know. I don't agree.
Uh, I mean, who are
I
we
don't
gonna put
agree.
there? We're not
Waterman,
putting Victor Wanyama out of shape.
Waterman, Waterman.
Waterman,
Yeah,
Waterman midfield for 90 minutes.
yeah.
Oh
He
my
played. He played midfield. It was his position before. So no, for me it's Waterman. 100% it's
God, I don't know.
Waterman.
I don't know.
I'll put Corbo back in the back three with Campbell on the right, Alvarez on the left, Waterman,
Yeah,
Piet in the
yeah.
midfield,
I had
and up front it's gonna be Duke, Clark, and Martinez, Jaquil Marcherati, Raheem Edwards, not Tom Pierce. I don't agree with everybody that's been woo about Tom Pierce. Tom Pierce
Tom Pierce.
defensively is
Why
not
the
the answer. So I think he's
no?
good as a sub because he can bring that cross, but playing 90 minutes, I don't agree. I think, yeah, Raheem Edwards had a bad game, but he's still our number one. My
Howdy, how
number
about
one.
we? How about CF Montreal makes it a point to make it a goodbye game for Victor Wanyama? You know, make it like a big thing.
Okay, so one sec. You said, you said Bryce Duke next to Samuel Piet, and Tate
Yes,
asks you, so who takes Duke's spot then?
Mahala.
So Mahala with Caden Clark and Joseph Martinez up front.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We have Maxime Deg that agrees
And if
with
it doesn't
me,
work, and if
saying
it doesn't
Waterman
work,
6, Waterman 6. So
and if it doesn't work, then you just take Mahala out, put Bryce Duke on top, and then we go with Hadi's plan with Praise Waterman as a six.
I don't know. It's gonna be a tough decision for Laurent Courtois. I think losing Mathieu Chouanière is tough. Yes, Nathan Saliba is good, but now that he's not here, he's suspended, or if he was injured, you don't have a lot of options here. Victor Wanyama, I don't know, man. I don't know. He
He's
hasn't
not
been
gonna
with the
play. No,
team.
he's definitely.
I
No, I even have a more dangerous question for you, Hadi. How
Yeah.
dangerous would it be if we play Alessandro Biello?
Oh no, please do not say that. No, poor guy. Poor guy. You're gonna put that much pressure on his shoulders? No freaking way, man.
I
No.
mean, how many 16-year-old
No.
kids are playing now?
No, man. No, too early. Too early. You give him minutes in a lost cause game, or you give him minutes when you're winning by 3 goals. Yes, it's his first professional season. Yeah, it's not in decision day that you're gonna put him
No.
as a starter. You would maybe put him, in the last, let's say, 10 minutes. You need to get a goal. You need, let's say Piet is really tired. Okay, you know what? You put Alessandro Biello because you need that energy that comes with the youth. I agree with that, but like
But didn't
as
they
a
play him?
starter,
Didn't Courtois play him again? I agree. It's a different competition. It's a different league competition. But didn't they put him in a must-win game against Forge earlier this
yeah, but
season?
it's different. It's different because you need to have a certain amount of Canadian players on the starting 11. So I think that's the reason
Okay.
why. And you know what? Forge is another a lower division. So maybe
Yeah.
he thought that it would be a good thing. So no Biello for me. Um,
All right.
let's
Okay.
let's 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 answer. I see where you're getting that from, but like nah.
No. Okay. I said it was
Let's
a dangerous idea. Okay. I told you.
let's move on with the other questions that we received, and
Yes.
it's mostly it's Dr. Food that asked us a question about the MLS. Your opinion on TFC? Should they get rid of the two Italians? Is Herdman still the right man for the job? What role does Jadrinka play in this organization? I'm gonna answer you, Dr. Food. I don't freaking care about Toronto. I don't care. I don't care. So
The
we're just
clown
gonna
show.
answer. I'm just gonna answer in less than 10 seconds. Should they get rid of the two Italians? Yes. Is Herdman still the right man for the job? He never was. What role does Vinko play in this organization? He's gonna be whatever just to get a bit of money. These are my answer. Do you have an answer, Andy?
Yes, the first one. Should they get rid of the Italians? 1,000%. What a clown show. Herdman still right for Mendo job? I don't know, and I don't care. It's similar to Hari. The Giovinco, he's an ambassador, so I can only assume that it's the same thing as Ignacio Piatti is here.
No, what? So
Smile
he's
and
not even an ambassador anymore. I think Piatti, but
oh
whatever.
no, that's what I heard his role was. No,
Well,
I
I
thought
don't
his
know.
role was an ambassador for the
I don't know.
club.
I don't know. I'm lost with all this ambassadors roles. It's nothing. So, yes, John Herdman jobs is on the line. 100%. Yeah, no, 100%. But I still think that they're gonna stick with him. But enough of that clown team. We don't care about them. Moving on with the Canadian men's national team. That's what we care about. The Canadian men's national team. Let's look at the lineup, at the squad that Jesse March has chosen. We have quite a few questions on the national team right after, and we'll answer that too. So here's the squad. The squad chosen for the game against Panama. That's going to be Sama Kugbe, Ali Ahmed, Theobert, Zoran Bassong, Moïse Bombito, Mathieu Chouanière, Derek Cornelius, Maxime Crépeau, Jonathan David, Alfonso Davis, Luc de Fougerolles, Steven Eustachio, Jamie Knight Lebel, Carl Laren, Richie Larea, Santiago Lopez, Liam Miller, Tani Oluwasei, Jonathan Osorio, Kwasi Poku, Nathan Saliba, Jacob Schaffelberg, Nico Sigur, Jonathan Sirois, Dane Sinclair, and Joel Waterman. What did you make about that squad? Quite a few new additions to that team to either to get a larger national pool for sure for Jesse Marsh, for him to be able to to get his eyes on a few players in training. I think that's very interesting. This is what friendly games are for, to be able to see more of those players. You know, you have those very must see players in the squad, but also, you know, all the French players have been replaced by other players. You know, to expand, you know, the horizons of Jesse March going forward. What did you think about all that?
Exactly what you said, Hadi. It just seems like Jesse March has put the message very clear as to what he's doing with the national team. He wants to expand it. He doesn't want to make it the same people over and over again. I think that sends a message to some of the veterans or some of the people that have been there for a long time, where they're like, by the way, you don't have a guarantee here. Regardless how good you are, you better, puts that pressure on them to perform at their club at top level so that they can actually make a difference once they're there in the national team. Has made it younger, is definitely making the team an exciting place to go, where you can probably witness a lot of competition going on, to everybody that is trying to solidify their position. So yeah, I just think it's a very young squad. Like I said, I'm very one that I almost said John Herdman. Jesse March has decided to expand, and it's very good for the team. It's very good for the nation, and I think it's gonna have fruit. Maybe not necessarily tomorrow, but it will have fruit in the long run that they're spending it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, I just think that it's weird to get those players that are not playing at very high level in a national team squad. You know, you look at Jamie Bell. I understand that he has a lot of potential. He's very, very young. I think he's 18 or 19
19,
as a
yeah,
center back.
yeah.
He's a center back, yes. We need center backs. Completely agree with that. But Knight LaBelle plays in the fourth tier of English Pyramid, like in
On
the
loan,
fourth division. Yeah,
on
he's playing in the fourth division right now. He's not good enough to be playing in the second division because he's owned by Bristol City that plays in the championship. They loaned him to the fourth division, and then he gets a call up with a national team that's in the top 40 in the world. we're not a team anymore that sits in the 90th or the 100th position in the FIFA rankings. Getting someone from the fourth tier in England, I don't know. It's a bit, I don't know.
Isn't
It's
it
a bit
more
concerning.
like long term project? Like, look, this is what you. It's also for him to see, right? Because he's got options, I believe, to play for other countries. I believe. I think I might be right here that he does have dual nationalities.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
Um,
sure he
but
does.
it's more like a long term project. Maybe there's a lot of potential in him, and they believe that this is going to be an important project. That's why they also want to see him. But you might be right. It might be just a one time thing that they'll see him and then they'll be like, never again. Wasn't worth it taking a spot from somebody else for this. But yeah, I think it's a long term.
Yeah, and when you see, and what's really concerning for me is that you look at you look at well, Kamal Miller that's not been called up, which is for me a bit weird. I don't know if he's injured or not. I know he didn't.
He hasn't been
Um,
playing for Portland that much. If I'm not,
no, he
I don't know.
played. He played last week. He played last week. He was a starter in the defeat against Austin. They lost 1-0. But he wasn't called up. So not sure if he's injured or what. So that's a bit weird. I understand that you want to see something else, but I don't know. I don't know. That's a bit weird. The second player is Santiago Lopez. He plays with the reserve team of Pumas, so not even with the first team. Yes, he played a very good tournament with the under 20. Completely agree with that. So I kind of understand him being included, but still very, very weird. Super happy for Kwasi Poku. That has been very, very good in the Belgian league since moving from the CanPL, which is, I think, very, very, very interesting for Kwasi Poku. I think he plays. Is he still playing in? Yeah, he's playing with Molenbeek in the Belgium first tier, so that's great. Super happy about that. And Zoran Basong, I know a lot of people remember him from Montreal, saying that he has been good and everything, but you know what? He's a starter with the KC, with Sporting KC. Yes, KC is not in the playoffs, but he's getting time. He's getting minutes with the first team of Kansas City. So why not? You know what? If you need another player as a left center back, because he can play as a left center back or as a left back or as a left wing back. He can play the three positions. I think he's best as a left wing back, but he can play the three positions. Does that mean we're going to see Alfonso Davies get forward more, like get in a forward position? Because right now you have Sama de Gukbe that can play the left wing back position. Zoran Basang that can play that position, and Alfonso Davies. So I think there's one too many unless you put Alfonso Davies in a
As
forward
a winger.
position. That's going to be
Yeah.
very, either a winger or an offensive midfielder. That's going to be interesting to see what Jesse March is going to do. Theo Bair just scored his first goal for Agios in Ligue 1. Watch the game. Good goal from Theo Bair. I'm happy that he opened the scoring. So that's pretty good. We're going to see another cameo of Nico Sigur. So yeah, no, interesting squad. I think Jesse March is strengthening, as you said. Um, Now let's answer the few questions that we received about the national team. So first of all, Tacklers FC. Jet has been dropped from the Canadian squad. Is it one of his baddest tackles received? He's always going to talk about tackles because Tacklers FC, right? So is it that bad for Samuel Piet to not be called up again for that squad?
Man, this has been the talk for I feel like it's been the talk of the week for CF Montreal fans. And when I saw that, Hattie, I was like, man, that's already two windows that he's not called in. But apparently he's in constant communication with Jesse, and Jesse has told him, look, we're just seeing younger people. You're not out of consideration. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because there's still some windows left for him to be called. But I don't think it's just him. I think a lot of players, like you mentioned, Kamal Miller, that unless it's injury related, that they are not being considered. Which is again, I think for the good of the Canada men's national team, it's good because it shows that there's competition, that there's no guarantee of places in the squad. I think he was in the squad in the with the team for 11 years, if I remember correctly. 12, they said
Yeah,
12 years,
yeah.
and so that just goes to show, like, again, they're trying new things, and maybe his time has gone. We don't know, but it's I don't think it's the worst. I think there's still, if the windows continue coming and he still continues not being called, then at some point, yeah, it becomes worrisome. I think we have to take a wait and see approach with that.
I agree, and I feel that also the way Jesse March likes to play, he needs his two midfielders to be very, very mobile. He plays with two box to box. He doesn't play with number six. So I feel that doesn't play in favor of a profile like Samuel Piet. So unfortunately, sometimes there are things that you don't have control with. And this is one of the things for Samuel Piet, and it's a pity because he's 29 now. He's not going to change his game now, and you know what? Nobody expects him to change his game.
Mhm.
But yeah, and Robbie's saying I think Piet's time is up with the national team. I think it's up because of, as I said, Jesse March's game. But I think if we needed a pure number six, he would be the best player to fill in that role. But in Jesse March's tactics, there's no pure number six, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Moving on, next question is from Emile Archambault that asks, Alistair Johnston scored and got an assist today again. How long is he staying in Scotland?
Man, he's got a long. He. I don't know if it's gonna be Scotland, man, but his position is such a special one, especially with the way soccer is, you know, growing as wingbacks become more and more common. Correct me if I'm wrong, Heidi. I don't follow the Celtic team that closely, but is he still playing as a wingback or right back in with the Celtic? I don't know what kind of formation they usually play with him.
He's
But,
playing as a wing back, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go check
okay.
because they changed the way they play at one point. But
Yeah.
from what I understood, he's playing as a wing back. Oh no, right back. Sorry
Okay,
about that.
but either way, regardless, I mean, to even have a right back that's offensive, and even with CF Montreal when he was playing here, um, he was always so productive. Hey, we're talking about him scoring and assisting today, but his he was the best defender when his team lost 7-1 against Dortmund. So it won't always be that pretty performances like he had today or the past maybe two games, but nonetheless. His stock, I think, continues rising as he goes to a European team and performs like that. His future is bright. He's not too old either. He's only 25, so he still has a good 5 years left. About Scotland, I don't know. I think he would aim higher, but yeah, his stock is growing in my opinion, little by little.
Yeah, no,
A
I
very
agree.
offensive
I
minded
agree.
right back.
At the same time, it's funny that you talk about the game against Dortmund, but he was also a starter in the first game in the Champions League, winning against Slovan Bratislava 5-1. So, you know, yes, he lost 7-1, but he won 5-1. And then today he got a goal and an assist in his game. I honestly think that he's going to stay in Celtic because Celtic is giving him the opportunity to play very high level games in the Champions League, first of all. Second of all, don't forget that Alistair Johnson was wearing the armband for Celtic uh,
Mhm.
a
That's
few games
major.
ago, and
Yeah,
that's really, really major.
yeah.
He's becoming so important for that team. I don't think he's leaving because don't forget that he has Scottish also origins, so that helps too. So he knows Scotland, or he has origins in Scotland. So I don't see him leaving unless he goes to a top club in Europe that wants to play Champions League every year. I don't think he's going to go in a bottom. Like, let's say he goes to the Premier League, he's not going to go in at Fulham or
Yeah.
at the team that's not really playing anything, when he's playing with Celtic and playing Champions League games and winning trophies and getting the armband. So either he's going to go higher, and I don't think he's at that level yet, or he's going to stay at Celtic, and I feel like he's going to stay at Celtic and grow again. I really wanted him to sign with us with Marseille, because we need a right wing back or a right back. But I think we already have two Canadians. So, and by the way, Derek Cornelius is doing very well, and I think he won. He might be a starter going forward with the Leonardo Balerdi, which is really interesting. So that's for Alistair Johnston. And we do have no, we covered all our questions. So prediction: Canada, Panama. Any? What's your prediction?
Man, Panama, I've never known them to be that good team. So I'm very interested to see how it's gonna work out for them. But my prediction for Panama, I would say 2-0 to be safe.
For Panama or for Canada?
Well, Canada's gonna win. Canada's gonna
Oh,
win
okay.
2-0 because
Okay,
I'm too
okay.
positive. Howdy, come on. I'm never gonna say they're
Nah,
gonna lose.
I honestly, I don't think that the result is important, so I don't really care about the result. But I feel that we're gonna see Alfonso Davies in a new position. I don't think he's gonna be a left back or a left wing back, in my opinion. I think it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna be in the midfield.
Yeah.
I have a strong feeling that Mathieu Chouanière has won that spot next to Steven Eustáquio, which is kind of amazing. Ishmael Kone is injured, as we all know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they set up. But yeah, I expect a win. I think 2-0 is the
But
right.
Panama, I mean, when I think of Panama, Hadi, I think Omar Brownie. You remember Omar Brownie?
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, he used to play with them a lot. So I'm
Yeah.
like, if you're playing Omar Brownie, then we're good. Like,
Yeah.
like
They have a
that.
good team, by the way, Panama. Let's not like
Yeah.
they're really really good. They qualified in Copa America. They went into the second round. Like they're
They
not
beat USA.
they're not very. Roberto saying the result is somewhat important for the rankings. I believe yes, you get points, but not a lot of points because it's a friendly. So the points are reduced whenever it's in a competition or in a friendly. So it's not going to be that damaging, whatever the result. I don't think we're going to lose, but I don't think the result is that important going forward for that.
Pay attention to the play and the lineup and the formations that they're using, because that's going to be something moving forward that is going to matter a lot.
And at the same time, Canada has announced that they will be playing. They will be playing. They will have a session, a training session here in Montreal. Excited,
Yes.
Andy?
Heck yeah. I'm not I don't think I'll be able to go. I forgot what day it is. But yeah, man, that's I don't know. I don't know if it's happened in the past, Hattie. I haven't been following them that long. But I don't know if it's happened in the past that Montreal has held a practice for the Canada men's national team. But super, super good for especially at the time that they're living now. Yeah, I mean, if you have a Davies here, Alfonso Davies, and these players here in Montreal, like that's special. So yeah, super, super excited about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I've been looking for the date. I'm not sure about the date, but it's next week. So we'll see. I think it's exciting. I think the last time Montreal, Canada played in Montreal was against Curacao, and I think it was in 2012. I was at
Oh,
that game. So it's been a while that we haven't seen the men's national team in Montreal. So it's gonna be fun. I
it's
think
very
it's gonna be
important.
fun.
Yeah.
So, very important game, as I said, between Canada and Panama. Important within the squad building that our friend Jesse March is trying to do. The game is on the 15th of October, so next in 10 days. So that's going to be on Tuesday 15th. So good game to watch. So we'll watch it, of course.
We'll be watching
All
it.
of
When
us
is that?
here
When
of the
is that
Ball is Wrong.
game?
As I said, the 15th, next
The 15th.
Tuesday.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes. Sorry.
exactly.
All right.
Moving on. Last but not least, my friend, we're gonna talk about our new feature, Andy. You have a
Yes.
new segment that you wanted to propose. So,
Yes.
guys, here's the new segment. I'll let you talk about it right now,
Yeah,
and let
guys.
me know
So
when you want me to pull
pull it up.
the
It's okay.
image.
I'll talk about it at the same
No,
time. So
talk,
yeah,
and then
guys.
we'll pull it.
I went ahead and I asked the gang if they were okay with it, and obviously I think because I think it's a neat little thing that we can do for some interaction with the fans, where we ask you a question, be it about Canada men's national team, Canada women's national team, or CF Montreal. Just take a poll, kind of feel what you guys and give you guys some answers. And we tried it out today, this week. Sorry, for the first time, and we got a lot of 149 votes, which is a lot to me, and I love it. And we told you guys we would discuss it. We would discuss what it was about, what we thought, and share the results. So, what's your vote? That's what the segment is called. Regardless of whether CF Montreal makes the playoffs this year or not, where do you think this team needs to improve the most? Obviously, the first choice was the coaching staff. We got 12%. The quality of players, 53%, 54%. The recruiting department, 27%. And I think a check mark popped up for the one I voted. And other, and then there were comments. Now there's a lot of comments, Hattie, and I think we'll spend too much time reading the comments.
Oh,
But
but we
they're
can
very,
read
very
a few. We can
okay.
read a
Yeah,
few
just
if
read
you
them. I don't
want
want to
to.
comment on them, but yeah, definitely. The majority seems to think that is the quality of players. Okay, the quality of players that need to improve, regardless. Again, if we make it to playoffs or not, this means to say that right now, with the squad that we had this year in 2024, Hari, most of the of our the people that participated said that it's we need better quality of players.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Hari, I don't know if that's the solution because higher quality of player, guys, if you really understand CF Montreal's philosophy, you're not gonna get the highest quality players here. You are gonna get probably players that are very raw and need to be developed. And once they reach that quality that we want, MLS quality, they'll be shipped off because they're ready for that next step in their career. Um, what I believe, I don't know if we're giving our opinions. How do you? First time we're doing this segment, so but I'm gonna go ahead
You're the
and say what.
boss. You're the
Yeah, exactly.
boss.
I'm the one that's gonna say what I chose. I chose the recruiting department because I just think that the recruiting has been sloppy since the past 2 years. It hasn't been very clear as to who's doing it and what we're getting. So maybe expand the scouting department, the data analysis department. That's what I think we need to improve if we want to see that bearing any fruit in the next 2-3 years, and not just have that one Caden Clark that is considered a steal. Have like 5 Caden Clarks that are considered a steal, not just from within the LMLS, but maybe in the Mexican League and the South American League and in that South America, any of the leagues there. That's my opinion. What do you think, Hattie, of the results of the choices?
I chose exactly the same thing as you, the recruiting department. I think that the recruiting department is very important, and again, we did a good job, getting Caden Clark. Yes, I think Jackie Marshall-Ruddy is a good also investment. I feel so he needs to improve, of course, but I think he has everything it takes to get better. I think we're starting to see a bit more of the recruiting department. I think we need to develop that a bit more. I kind of agree, and the reason why I chose the recruiting department is that because I think that we could have had. I think it's the structure that needs to evolve in a way, and a lot of people have said it in the comments. So I'll read the comments and I'll tell you a bit more about my point. So we have William Cassette that says we need more transparency from from our owners and the GM. The raise role, the Bologna link, short term plans. He wants Gervais to be more clear in press conferences and maybe see Saputo or his sons participate in these. And I think that's going to be very important to see the owner at one point. Antoine says more staff and more experienced assistants. Yves Courtois says. David Wise says the owner, everything is at the discretion
Yeah.
of the owner's budget and
Yeah.
direction. He's not funding any department properly. And on top, he's injecting his family member or himself. It's been a failure almost his entire tenure on the field and balance sheet. We have Sebastian Don that said they need to improve the administrative structure, and that's what I agree with 100%. Recruiting department, coaching staff, development of youth, and get better players. In short, lots of work, ambition, and some well invested money. The most important is to bring back hope to the critical fans like me. Emile said, I answered coaching staff, but that does not mean Courtois out. I'd
I
like to
love that.
think player club relations could be something too that hopefully the new and improved supporting department will address. Eve says, I believe that they need to stabilize the front office sporting department. Once that is clear, everything else falls in place. With a clear direction, others know where they stand and can work with a clear head. Sporting department includes sports psychology, which has been the biggest problem. A lot of people talking about the structure,
The
and that's
structure.
what
Yep.
I completely agree with that. I mean, we need to understand Ray's role. We need to have a sporting director. We need to have a clearer view of the recruitment process. Because getting sheets of scouting reports of the Bologna scouts for me is not enough. So we need to have something in place. The structure needs to be better. Completely agree with that. And we have one joke in the comments. Tackler says, have a mascot. And I love it. We do have a mascot, though. We have Tactic and we have
Yeah, we
Yuki.
do.
So there's two mascots already. We don't need another mascot. So
But you
yeah,
know what? To the structure part, supposedly, according to what Gervais told us in the mid-season press conference, he said that it should be defined by the end of the year. That's what he said, that there's going to be more definition. Have no clue if that's another PowerPoint presentation that doesn't answer any questions, or if it's actually for the first time in a long time going to be clear. Is like, by the way, this guy
it's never
responds to
clear.
this guy, and this guy responds. Come on, Harry, the forever
It's never no,
optimistic.
no, it's never clear. I'm the one realistic on this show. Sorry, Robbie, you're not the realistic. I'm the realistic. No, it's never clear. It's really never clear.
But I mean, not a lot of clubs have it clear either. That's very normal. But at least, you know, if it's Lucas Saputo or whoever it is, I forgot his name, the Joey Saputo's son, that's very involved in CF Montreal. And yes, you see him in the stadium, very involved in the stadium with the players and all that. Like, be clear. Why are we hiding everything? So let's just be clear. Doesn't mean that you had to give us press conferences, but at least we know. And and because right now, any mistake or any success, Hadi, that is happening is falling on Olivier Renard and Vasily Kremazidis, whatever was in the past, and whatever success in the future is Corey Ray's. So it's just confusing to me. And yes, absolutely the structure, but I did not choose that as an option, Hadi. I did not put that as an option. I only put the recruiting
it's
department.
okay.
I didn't put the structure because, like I said,
It's too
Gabriel
big.
Gervais
It's
said it's
too
gonna,
big. Yeah.
but he also said, Gabriel Gervais also said that he was gonna define it. So we'll see. We'll see in a few
Okay.
weeks where we're at. So we'll see.
Good. I think this is going to be it for tonight. We're going to wrap this up right away. Guys, thanks a lot for listening to us. Thanks a lot for being here with us week in, week out. It's really, really appreciated. We love doing this. We love having those discussions with you because, yes, we are usually the three of us, we are the ones talking, but at the same time, we're interacting with you and we love it. We love to see your opinions, even if we don't agree with them, even if we sometimes we can't really talk about everything that's been said, but like we try to talk about 80 to 90% of the people that have been commenting. Don't forget that this podcast here is always going to be free. Our content is always going to be free because we want it that way. We don't want to put a paywall. That's not something that we're interested in. But if you want to help us grow the product, if you want to help us get better at this and get other things going forward, join our Patreon page. You can choose to join our Patreon page and put $4 a month. That's not much. $4 for US dollars a month, so about $6 Canadian a month. That's not much. If you like our show, please help us. This is what you can do to help us continue our work. This is it for us. Andy, thanks a lot for being here with me today. Very interesting as usual. Nice discussions.
Yes, for sure, guys. See you soon.
And thanks everyone once again, and see you next week for episode 199 of The Ball Is Round.